Hey guys, welcome to our Linux Basics series. In this series, we're going to try to just essentially explain Linux, how it works, get you kind of a general gist of Linux commands, and hope that, it can kind of help you learn Linux a little bit better or get more comfortable with using a Linux machines, whether it's for a job, a hobby, or just for fun, honestly, at the end of the day. So we're doing this new series to kind of help teach Linux a little bit. Hopefully you guys learn a little bit, or if you already know Linux, maybe you might find something that might be interesting that's like, oh, I didn't know that was an option to use, or a command that was available for, using. So that's pretty much going to be this kind of whole series. So hopefully you guys enjoy this series. We're going to be trying to release videos for this series as I come up with content and commands to kind of showcase. So, but in this specific video, we'll be introducing you how to use the man command, as well as some navigation things to kind of navigate around in your Linux box, so that you can kind of move around your Linux box and figure out, how things work via a terminal. So, all right, let's get started, guys. All right, so you got your basic terminal, you got a command line. So the first command that I want to show you guys is the man command. The man command is, I'm assuming is short for manual, but this is a command that's very, very useful that I would say, it took a little bit before I actually learned that it was available, but you can run man. And if you run man, it will bring you the help. What manual page do you want? Which essentially you would just do man and then the command for it, right? So the next command that I'm actually going to show you is ls. So let's do a man ls. So doing that, it opens the manual for ls, which is great because you can kind of see what it is. So ls, list directory contents, how you can use it, ls options and files, and then a description below, so you can use the arrow keys to move up and down to kind of see. So you can see we can do -a for all. Do not ignore any entries starting with dot. -A, do not list implied dot, and dot. Authors, and you can see all these other options that you may or may not have even realized that this command provided. So being able to use manual makes it very good for, hey, someone tells you, hey, use this command, use awk or sed or something, and you're like, how am I supposed to use that? And then you start Googling, finding Stack Overflows. This man page is essentially, helps without you needing to Google. Some of them can be a little bit convoluted when you're trying to read it, obviously, but for the most part, it will give you all the options that it needs and kind of give you, a little bit of how you can use it too, with the synopsis at the top. So if we go back all the way to the top, you can see ls options or file, right? So that's how you use the man. So now that you're in the man page, you can hit Q for quit to get out of the man. So the next thing that we'll show you is ls. For the most part, you're probably going to use this a lot because when you go into, a directory, or you're in a directory and you're like, well, what are the contents in this directory? So in this case, you can see that there is a file. ls has a few other, options that you can do. So as you can see, we did ls a. So you can see with the A, it shows us even the hidden files. The hidden files are the ones that starts with a dot. So you can see .bash history, .bash profile. LSA is very good to kind of showcase all that. But the other thing that I use a lot also is ls-la, which will also show permissions. And we'll probably do another video that pertains to what all these permissions are. Permissions, ownership, file size, so you get the byte size over here, and then date last, I believe, either created or modified. I can't remember off the top of my head. But you can see all these over here. So it gives you a lot of options when you're trying to troubleshoot, man, this file hasn't been touched or modified in, since 2019 or whatnot, or something of that sort. Actually, I think this is the created date. Or a modified date. Actually, I haven't modified that in a while either. So, but essentially, it gives you a brief overview of everything. Now, if you're trying to do file size count stuff, having it in bytes isn't very helpful. So what I actually usually end up doing is ls-lh, which will show it in a easier readable format. So in this case, you can see this is 1.1 kilobytes. Obviously, if it was bigger like megs or whatnot, it would say megs or terabytes or gigs in here. So it makes it a little bit easier to read, especially because reading bytes when it gets to terabyte size, you're like, is that a terabyte or is that like, 100 gigs, right? Because you're looking at decimal points. So that is pretty much it for LS. It's pretty simple, kind of just gets you where you need to be with what it is. The next thing that we'll do is PWD, print working directory. So print working directory essentially tells you where are you located. It's just a command and just tells you where you are. So you can see currently I am in /root because I'm logged in as a root user. Root's the home directory. This is where I land in. So if you ever get lost or whatnot and you're like, wait, what directory I am in? You can just hit PWD and it'll print your current working directory. So now we can do, the last thing that I want to show you is essentially CD. You can CD. CD is change directory. So in this case, I'm in /root. So you can see that there are no directories in here. And there is a directory. This is a directory. So anything that starts with D up here, it's a directory. So you can see that .ssh is a directory. This is kind of a poor example because I had to do LA. But what we'll do is do CD/, which will essentially bring us to the root of the volume. So this is where everything starts in Linux. It starts in /. So if we do an ls here, you can see that in the / directory, there is bin, dev, home, so on and so forth, and a lot of other things in here. So what we can do is cd to home, right? And we can do an ls, and you can see there's nothing in home in this case. So that, how I did that is all kind of like relative, right? So I went to / and then I went to home, right? But what you can also do is do absolute paths. You can go, hey, I like, say for example, I'm in root again. I can't just go cd home because there's no home directory, right? It's /home. So I can do cd /home to actually go in and do the root directory. Root and then home, essentially. And then the other nice thing is with that, you can actually also do ... So if I do cd ... it'll bring me back to the previous, not the previous, but the higher level of that directory. So it will bring me back to /. So you can see how it went from home to /. It's because I was in home. And if we print WD, so I'm in /home, right? So that is essentially just moving around, and you can change directories in here. And, you can go to temp, and you can do relative. So I could do relative, and I can go, hey, I want to go back to /, and then I want to go to mount after /. So now I'm in /mount because I went down a directory and then up. I could just have done /mount. It's kind of a bad example because I'm using the base root directory / to do the example. But you can, if say for example you had, I'm trying to think. I think Etsy will have a lot more directories. CD Etsy. Yeah. So like Etsy profile.d. Yeah. So in this case, I'm in Etsy profile D. So I could do cd Etsy profile.d and I can get here. Or if I were to, go back a directory, I'd be back in Etsy. So this is going back to Etsy, right? And then I could have went to like yum.repos. repos.d from there. So if I was back in profile.d, I could do cd / to get back into Etsy and then do like yum repos.d, and you can see now I'm in the yum repos.d directory. So those are kind of like the basics of getting started, of how you can figure out commands and how you can navigate in Linux. It's good to kind of know ls and cds kind of like your base friends, essentially, when you're getting started, to kind of just navigate around Linux, because you don't double click folders anymore. You don't double click a file and it opens up. It's cda, lsing, seeing what the file is, and then getting all the things that you need from it. So that's kind of how you get started. We'll get some more commands in the next few videos, so stay tuned. If you did enjoy this video though, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.